to look at that. Okay, from chapter 1 we move into chapter 2. And in chapter 2, now we have some data. So what are we going to do with it? And so the emphasis on chapter 2 is to go through and to show the other folks what it means. And so we do that a lot of times with pictures, but in statistics, instead of calling it pictures, we're going to call it a graph. And there are several different types of graphs that are going to be given. One of the things that we're going to see a lot, and of course you understand that I'm not an artist, I'm a statistician, I'm not an artist. So this is going to be, you'll see this a lot, this is going to be our common normal curve, normal distribution. It's a bell-shaped curve, whatever you want to call it. We have some other distributions. For example, sometimes you may get a distribution that looks like that. And that is one that we're going to say is going to be skewed. Now, the direction that it goes is to the right. It's skewed to the right. It points, if you want to, draw a little arrow here or something like that. It points to the right. So we're going to call that skewed right. Other times you're going to see this as maybe positively skewed to the right. Okay? Now if it goes back to the other direction, like that, then it's going to be skewed left or skewed in a negative direction. So another way to help you remember that is it can be skewed left or negative. The L and R are close to each other in the alphabet. Positively skewed, the P and the R are close to each other in the alphabet. So you can go through, maybe that might help some of you to figure that out. So, very important. We have 5 characteristics of data. We have the shape, okay, whether it's positively skewed, normally skewed, or normal distribution, positive distribution, whatever. You can have a uniform distribution that sort of looks like a rectangle. Or would you expect to find a rectangle or a uniform distribution? Rolling a dice. Or you expect to have the same number. You roll the dice 36 times, you expect to get 6 1s, 6 2s, 6 3s, 6 4s, etc. Those would be all end up at the same height. Each one of them would have expected value of 6. So we have the shape. We have another variable that's called the center. Okay? And in the normal distribution, the center would be right down the middle. The challenge is that we're going to find out that when we get to the center, there's different measures. Okay? And those different measures could be the mean, the median, the mode. We can even throw in the mid-range there. Okay? Another measure that we have is called the spread. Okay? This, for example, a distribution that looks something like this would have very little variability, whereas a distribution that has something like this would have a lot of variability. If you were trying to predict consistency or identify something that was consistent, this is a whole lot more consistent than the one that's spread out or flattened out more. But that's a measure of the spread, and we'll have some measurements that we can go through and measure the variability with. We'll also have a measurement of the outliers, and you'll be able to do that a lot of times with a z-score, which we'll get into in the chapter 3. And then another measurement is one that's called the time. And you can see these all the time if you go and you look at the reports for the stock market, you can see that, you know, if this is the day of the year, then you can see the stock market, well, excuse me, this is 2009, you can see the stock market. Okay, now it's probably a little more accurate there. The focus of chapter 1 is where did we get the data from, how do we get it. Focus of chapter 2, okay, now that we have the data, this is how we're going to display it. In the back of chapter 2, the end of chapter 2, there's several examples of how not to display data, some of the bad things that are done. It's very easy to go through and find examples of graphs and those kind of things that are poorly done in the literature and in newspapers and those kind of things. Okay, now just a little bit of a preview. I have about a minute left here. Just when you go to chapter 3, we're going to find out that we're going to have some measures of the center, which we're going to call the central tendency, and those are going to be, as we said, the mean, which is going to be the arithmetic average, we're going to have the median, which is going to be the middle value, we're going to have the mode, which is going to be the most common, and then we'll have the mid-range, which is going to be the average of the highest and the lowest. So the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. Now, which one of these is the best? It depends on the situation. We will find out that also in this chapter there's going to be the various measurements of variability. And these will be things like the range, the deviation, or the mean or the absolute deviation, the variance, the standard deviation. We'll have another one called the interquartile range. I think that's time up. Have a good day.